I'm Michael Simpson. We moved around a lot when I was a kid, but we stayed to the southern part of Iowa. Um, it was a rough childhood for the most part. One of my siblings had passed away, and it was real rough on the whole family. My mom, especially, it kind of felt like most of the love kind of died in our house with my little sister. Um, we had a lot of family that was religious with a religious background. So there was a lot of talk about God, but I never really got to know God as in a relationship in any kind of way. It was just always something to be feared. So there was my biological dad was never around. Drugs were always his thing. My mom moved from lots of different relationships. They were mostly abusive, and the abuse kind of spilled down through the house. So it was pretty rough. Um, my uncle was a pastor, and he was very different behind closed doors than when he was behind the pulpit. He was pretty mean and abusive. So when by the time I was 17, I was ready to just take off, and I quit school, and I just kind of took off in my car. And yeah, by the time I was 19, I had met a girl and started my own family at that point. So it was pretty rough growing up, and a lot of that stuff I tried to. It was hard to be a dad. It was hard to be any kind of a husband or anything like that because I really didn't know what that was supposed to look like. Um, and her and I were together for about 4.5 years. We had 3 kids, and there was a house fire one day, and I actually wound up losing 2 of the children in the house fire. That was pretty rough. I spent a long time in the hospital because I tried to go get them and get them out, and I didn't do it. It didn't work. But it was it was pretty rough. She left after that point, so it was just me, and she kept the one surviving child we had, and kept her from me for a long time. Um, I blame myself a lot for not being able to save the 2 boys, and I just kind of got in with the bad crowd and started using drugs with these people. I tried them and realized that if I took drugs, especially meth was my favorite at the time because it made me completely numb. I didn't feel anything. I couldn't feel anything, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want to feel everything that was coming up from my childhood still and from the loss of the kids. And yeah, and I stayed in that active addiction for about 15 years, destroying every relationship I'd ever been in, relationships with family, uh, till about 3 years ago when I moved here to Illinois. And I, uh, I was still very much using drugs and running around in bad relationships with the wrong people until I got arrested and thrown in jail. And it was kind of rough. I didn't have anybody, and a guy from church sent me a Bible. Um, he's a pretty good friend of mine. He just thought that was the best thing he could do for me where I was at. And at first I was stubborn. I didn't really want to read it. But then after getting into a fight with another inmate and deciding that I was just going to wind up getting myself in a lot of trouble, more trouble, I changed up my whole routine. I decided to be awake when the other inmates were sleeping and be asleep when they were awake, which meant I didn't have anything but time. And One day I looked over and there was that Bible, and I just started reading. And at first, it was just a book. Then after a couple days, I could feel that the word was speaking to me. God was talking to me. It's like he was right there with me in that cell. It was like he made time to come to the cell just to talk to me. And that was when I knew that I never really knew God like I thought I did. And I started reading pretty voraciously, actually. And by the time I got out of jail, I bounced around for about a month, and then I wound up coming to Jesus as the way. And since I've been here, it's been good. It's been really good. It's been hard. God's asked me to do a lot of hard things. I'm 16 months sober. Absolutely no desire to use, which is insane when I think about it now, because when I was just a few days in or 30 days in, a year away seemed absolutely unattainable. But with God, I'm 16 months and I can't believe it. Jesus' way it's been a lifesaver, really. I've gotten my own space and a lot of people in the community that really love the guys here. They really love me. A lot of support, and I've gotten, to be able to connect with a lot of different churches and different programs like Sockham at the Vineyard, the School of Kingdom Ministry. That was a very big program for me. It's where I first learned that my identity was absolutely wrong, what I thought it was. I now know that my identity is, a loved son of God, first and foremost. And that I shouldn't let the world define me or the enemy define me. And I definitely shouldn't be trying to define my identity myself, because it's never been good. So yeah, I'm not Michael the addict. I'm not Michael the kid that was abused, or Michael the angry guy anymore, because that's just not me. That's not who I am. That's not who God made me to be. And it's been a journey. There's been a lot of refinement going on. God's pruning hasn't always been easy. It's been kind of difficult at times. Like I was telling Brian, it felt like he was going at me with a chainsaw for the first year. But now it feels more like he's got a chisel and a hammer and a much softer hand, kind of refining things. There's a lot less stuff to take off. I've done a lot of training, a lot of reading. I'd say one of the most freeing things was when God asked me to do probably the hardest thing I'd ever done, and that was forgiveness for my uncle. I had held on to that for so long, and that anger was starting to manifest in any relationship I had, even with friends. It was toxic, and it was poisoning everything. And I finally got a hold of my uncle. I was finally obedient, and I decided that it was time to forgive him. And I feel like 1,000,000 pounds has been lifted off of me. And God was right there through the whole thing. It could have went a different way, but my uncle was there and his heart was ready to receive, and he apologized and said that no kid should have had to been put through that stuff, which, that was good. It was, but it was more for me than for anything. And I got a joy that I've never had before. And I know the difference between joy and happiness, and the joy in the Lord is something that's always going to be there, even in the tough times. Um, so yeah, even days that I'm feeling down, I still got the joy that the Lord has put in me. So it's strength to keep moving forward. I still have a relationship with my mom. It's actually gotten better. Um, we can talk without yelling at each other. We can actually have a conversation where we're happy for each other. Um, I've actually got to meet my daughter for the first time in 10 years. I bought her a car and I was able to take it to her and spend a weekend with her. And yeah, I got to see my baby girl for the first time in 10 years. And we talk all the time on Facebook. Uh, that's been, that's been, that's been really good. I would definitely have to say my identity. And learning what my real identity in Christ is what has been the most impactful thing on me. Because even when I first got here, I was still under the identity that other people had given me, Michael the addict or Michael the angry guy, Michael the bad son. It was always something like that. And I took those things on as a mantle, and it was completely wrong. And that's why it just didn't fit. So, and now I know who I am, and that has absolutely changed the game for me.